Today, Jesus feeds a bunch of people. They want to make him king. The disciples get in a boat, and Jesus scares them. As we open John chapter 6, we find that Jesus is being followed by massive crowds of people because of the signs that he keeps doing for the sick. Well, on this occasion, we're told that the Passover is near. For those keeping track at home, that's Passover number 2 in the Gospel of John. And as that day is drawing near, we have Jesus and the disciples up on a mountain. Jesus, seeing this massive crowd, asks his disciples to feed them. The disciples are like, Jesus, it takes 6 months' wages to feed these folks. There are like 5,000 people here. There's no way we can do this. In this part of the narrative, we get a few details that point to the fact that it was most likely written by an eyewitness. We have the dialogue between Jesus and Philip, where we're specifically told which disciple is asking the question and saying, look, Jesus, there's no way, even if we had 6 months' wages, we couldn't buy enough food for these folks. Then we're told that Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, says, hey, look, there's a boy here with 5 barley loaves and some fish. We're told specifically that it's barley loaves. Then we're told that there's a lot of grass where the disciples are having everybody sit down. So throughout this narrative, we're getting a number of hints that this person was actually there and saw what was going on. And now, as we go through, we don't want to miss the point that the people are hungry for a sign, and Jesus feeds them. We're initially told that the crowds are coming to Jesus because of the signs that he's doing. And now at the end of the feeding of the 5,000, we're told that they're satisfied and that because they see the sign, because they've eaten the bread, they've had their fill, they recognize this is a sign from God. And now their desire is to make Jesus king, whether he wants it or not. And this prompts Jesus to do what he does so frequently throughout the Synoptic Gospels, and that is disappear. Anytime that people want to make Jesus king before he goes to the cross, he disappears. He gets out of town, he goes off by himself, and he does the same thing here. In verse 15, Jesus goes off by himself on the mountain. When we come to verse 16, the disciples are left wondering what in the world to do. So eventually, as evening comes, they get in a boat and they set off to the other side of the Galilee. After it's dark, the disciples are on the water, in the boat, in a storm, and they see Jesus coming, walking toward them. We're told that it's Jesus' desire to draw near to them in this moment. And instead of them recognizing Jesus for who he is and worshiping him as the Son of God, instead, they're terrified. Now listen, if I were in that boat, I would probably be in the same situation the disciples were in. I'm not saying I would be any different than they are, but this is yet another example of misunderstanding happening at night. And as soon as Jesus gets in the boat, they immediately reach the other side. This section of chapter 6 points to who Jesus is. He's someone who can feed 5,000 and walk on water. He needs to be recognized as the Son of God. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you're enjoying them, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're new to 40 Days with Jesus, there's a free reading guide that you can get by clicking the link in the description. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day.